The Last Seed, a tragic saga of Chaco Canyon. The dawn broke over Chaco Canyon like a lover's promise, painting the sandstone cliffs gold and warming the sagebrush that whispered secrets to the wind. It was 1275, and I, Hastiin, a farmer of 34 summers, stood on the mesa's edge, my hands tracing the brittle stalks of maize that barely reached my knees. Below, the great house of Pueblo Bonito sprawled, its 700 rooms a testament to the Hastiin, my people, called Anasazi by the Dain, a name meaning ancient enemies. My heart swelled for my wife Tabaaha, her laughter a melody, and our son, Naalnish, 9 winters old, whose eyes mirrored the canyon's stars. But the great drought, clawing since 1130 AD, had turned our fields to dust, and a darker shadow loomed, a skinwalker's cry, sharp and unholy, echoing in the night. This is our tale, a love woven with nature's embrace, shattered by starvation, sacrifice, and the gods' final wrath. A land of beauty and doom. Chaco Canyon, in what is now northwestern New Mexico, was the heart of the ancestral Puebloan world, a network of great houses like Pueblo Bonito and Chetro Kettle, built with sandstone and adobe, housing thousands. We farmed maize, beans and squash on mesa tops, using check dams to capture fleeting rains, and traded turquoise and black-on-white pottery across the four corners. Our kivas, underground chambers aligned with solstices, were sacred, their sippapus connecting us to the underworld. But the drought, part of a 300-year dry spell, had dried our springs, and whispers of dark forces, skinwalkers, born of forbidden magic, haunted our nights. Hastiin's world, family, and nature. I was Hastiin, my shoulders broad from hauling sandstone, my soul tethered to the land. Each dawn, I climbed ladders to the mesa, my fingers brushing maize leaves, whispering thanks to Tlaloc, the rain god. Tabaaha, 30, was my son, her dark hair braided with yucca fibers, her hands weaving cotton mantles dyed with cochineal. She'd hum to the cottonwoods, her voice blending with the canyon's breeze, teaching Naalnish to spot deer tracks. Our adobe home in Pueblo Bonito held a metate for grinding maize, a comal for tortillas, and a small altar to Huitzilopochtli, the war god. Naalnish, curious and swift, carved petroglyphs of lizards, dreaming of Kokopelli, the flute player whose music brought rain. Tabaaha and I would lie under the stars, her head on my chest, naming constellations, the Pleiades, the North Star, our love a fire against the drought's chill. Naalnish would curl beside us, his small hands clutching a yucca drumstick, tapping rhythms on a basket, his laughter a prayer. But the crops withered, yielding barely enough for a month, and hunger gnawed. I hunted deer and rabbits, trekking washes where pinon pines whispered, but game was scarce, and a new terror stalked me, the skinwalker's shadow. One dusk, in a wash near Fajada Butte, a twig snapped. My bow was drawn, but the air turned sour, heavy with a coyote's musk. A voice, Naalnish's but warped, called my name. A figure emerged, human yet not, its wolfskin cloak flapping, eyes glowing like embers, claws glinting. A skinwalker, Ye Naldlushi, a witch who broke taboos, donning animal hides to run at unnatural speeds, mimicking kin to lure victims. It lunged, claws raking my arm, flesh tearing, blood spraying, muscle hanging in strips. I stumbled into a cave, its sandstone cool, and barred the entrance with rocks, trembling as its howls echoed through the night. Navajo lore, though later, spoke of skinwalkers as priests who turned to dark magic, their rituals hidden in remote canyons. I survived till dawn, but the skinwalkers' tracks, human yet clawed, circled the cave. Returning home, I found Tabaaha pale, Naalnish clutching her, whispering of a shadow at their door, its voice mimicking mine. Dark magic and sacrifices. The skinwalkers grew bolder, haunting Pueblo Bonito nightly. Families huddled by fires, hearing scratches on walls, voices of lost kin. The priest Chichilti, his face gaunt, eyes fevered, claimed only blood would appease Tlaloc. At Casa Rinconada, he sacrificed a Numic captive, slashing his throat, blood gushing like a flood, pooling in the kiva's sipapu. Chichilti tore out the heart, raw and pulsing, and ate it, his chin dripping red, chanting for rain that never came. Archaeological evidence from Aztec ruins hints at such rites, with human bones bearing cut marks. Starvation drove darker deeds. Xichilti turned to family sacrifices, promising skinwalker powers, speed, strength, curses to those who offered kin. At Kin I saw a mother, driven mad by hunger, offer her son. Xichilti carved his chest, ribs snapping, heart ripped out, blood spraying as she screamed, her hands now clawed, her eyes glowing. She became a skinwalker, her laughter a howl fleeing into the night. Evidence from Cowboy Wash, 24 skeletons, some cooked, confirms cannibalism, born of desperation. Hunger clawed our home. Tabaaha's ribs showed, Naalnish's cheeks sank. We ate lizards, yucca roots, even clay, our bellies aching. One night, a skinwalker tore into a neighbor's home, dragging out a girl, her screams choking as it ripped her throat, blood pooling, her limbs gnawed, bones cracked for marrow. Tabaaha held Naalnish, sobbing as I barred our door, the fire's light our only shield, the elder's wisdom. I sought old man Atsidi, an elder whose eyes held centuries. In his kiva, lit by a single torch, he spoke of skinwalkers, once priests, now cursed for breaking taboos, their power tied to sacred objects. Craft a cloud blower, he said, etch it with stars, Pleiades, North Star, burn sage, chant to the holy people. He gave me a rattle, its gourd painted with constellations, used in enemy-way ceremonies to banish evil. Strike first, he warned, or become their prey. I became Pueblo Bonito's protector, carving a cloud-blower pipe, its ceramic stem etched with stars. Each night I stood watch, sage burning, rattle shaking, chanting to Huitzilopochtli. When a skinwalker came, its coyote form slinking, I struck, my obsidian knife slicing its throat, black blood spurting, its howl fading. Another night, two attacked, claws slashing, tearing my leg, flesh hanging, blood pooling. I drove them off with the rattle's song, their bodies collapsing, fur burning in the sage's smoke. The town rallied, calling me Shadow's bane, but the skinwalkers multiplied, and Xichilti's rites grew viler. Flight to the cliffs. Pueblo Bonito was cursed. Numic raiders struck, arrows piercing throats, blood fountaining, skulls split, brains oozing. A warrior's axe severed a man's arm, blood arcing, his scream drowned by fire. Tabaaha slung stones, Naalnish at her side, but 60 died, their corpses piled, flies swarming. We fled north to Mesa Verde, 100 miles away, where cliff dwellings like Cliff Palace offered refuge under sandstone overhangs. The trek was hell, Naalnish's lips cracked, Tabaaha's steps faltered. We ate scorpions, our water gone. At Cliff Palace, we lived in 150 rooms carved into cliffs, climbing ladders to farm mesa tops, hauling maize down. The cliffs were our fortress, their shade a balm, but skinwalkers followed, their claws gashing walls, mimicking Tabaaha's voice. Naalnish, brave, tapped his yucca drumstick on a basket, singing to Kokopelli. But the flute was silent. Xichilti's madness deepened. In a kiva, he sacrificed his own daughter, her chest carved open, ribs shattered, heart torn out, blood pooling as he chanted, now a skinwalker himself, his eyes glowing. He ate her flesh, bones crunching, the crowd retching, the stench of blood and char choking us. I struck him down, my knife slashing his throat, black blood spraying, his body twitching, but the gods saw all. The gods' wrath, our black magic, sacrifices, cannibalism, skinwalker rites, had angered the gods. Navajo tales warned of painting abstracts, defying holy beings, summoning destruction. In 1276, a sandstorm roared through Mesa Verde, sand flaying skin, eyes blinded, lungs choking. Lightning struck, collapsing a dwelling, crushing 40, bodies mangled, limbs twisted, blood pooling in rubble. A fire followed, kivas blazing, flesh melting, screams fading into ash. Tabaaha shielded Naalnish, her arm burned, skin peeling, but a rockfall took her, her skull crushed, blood and bone mixing with dust. Naalnish wailed, his small hands clawing the earth, and I held him, my heart shattered. We fled to Canyon de Shelly, its ruins empty, petroglyphs of lizard men mocking us. The Hisatsinum were gone by 1300 AD, scattered to the Rio Grande, our kiva silent, our magic cursed. Navajo lore says desert varnish, black streaks on cliffs, or a meteorite near Winslow marked the god's wrath, turning us to lizards for our sins. A tragic end. In Canyon de Chelly's last kiva, Naalnish, frail and fevered, showed me a hidden truth, a flute, etched with Kokopelli's form, buried in the sipapu. It held no seeds, no hope, just a curse. Kokopelli was no man but a god, and we defiled his name with blood. The flute hummed, and a vision came, Tlaloc, his face rain-soaked, weeping for us, but Huitzilopochtli, flaming, declared our end. The gods hadn't just turned against us, they'd erased us. Our cannibalism and witchcraft has stained too deep. Naalnish died in my arms, his breath fading, and I, Hastiin, became a lizard, my 5 fingers crawling the cliffs, my love for Tabaaha and Naalnish a fading echo, lost to the gods' fire. Our struggle, against drought, skinwalkers, raiders, was for naught, our tragedy sealed by divine judgment, our canyon silent forever. Credits and sources: Ancestral Puebloans or Wikipedia, overview of history, architecture, and decline. Ancestral Pueblo culture or Britannica, details on agriculture and cultural practices. Ancestral Puebloan or National Park Service, insights into kivas and astronomy. Riddles of the Anasazi or Smithsonian Magazine, evidence of violence and cannibalism. Anasazi, general life, men and women, legends or twin rocks, Navajo folklore on ceremonial objects and destruction myths, and Skinwalker or Wikipedia, details on Navajo skinwalker lore.